Let me see. Everything is good. All right. I don't know what to say except. Oh, what? That's the wrong music. Okay, here we go.
That is the wrong music. Oh my goodness, it's the Tara Show music. It's really not a day to make a funny lyric, so I won't because it's a somber occasion. So many things to talk about today, and we have a guest on the Tara Show. Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Hi, what's
Hi.
new? Anything up? I wish that we had enough material to fill the hour. I guess we're just gonna have to,
Have
stretch.
to wing it.
Jeebus Christmassy. What? Wow. Okay, so first and foremost, it is 9/11. Let us take a moment to acknowledge the day that our nation was attacked, where we suffered a tremendous loss of life between the victims in the buildings and the first responders who did everything they could, the brave ones who tried to stop it, the families who live in the aftermath, those first responders who got sick cleaning up Ground Zero, everyone who participated in that, the moment that we felt connected as a nation, and that connection has been completely shattered. And we don't even feel it today because it's occurring 24 hours, barely 24 hours, after a politically violently motivated assassination in Utah. And Charlie Kirk is today being insta-martyred by the most violent version of the Republican Party that has existed probably since the Civil War times. I don't take any joy in what occurred yesterday, despite the MAGA rhetoric.
No.
They believe that we're the violent ones who are
No.
gleefully embracing this shit, and we are
No
not.
one wants this. This is more problems for normal people and the country as a whole. No one needs this.
Yeah.
I didn't like Charlie Kirk, and he's a
No,
racist,
I did not either.
misogynist. He's a horrible person who did nothing.
Yep.
I mean, really, he was a parasite in the body politic that fed off the poison that he was actually creating and making
Correct.
our country sicker with every tweet and every post, every podcast he put out there. But I would rather disagree with him than have to martyr him, because he's not a martyr. He's getting the full Hearst vessel treatment from the right, and we knew that was coming because. And for those who don't, Hearst Vessel was a early adopter of the Nazi movement in the early 30s in Germany. He was a real loser, and he was killed in some kind of the equivalent of a bar fight with a bunch of communists, and the Nazis and the communists had a bar fight. And he was a very horrible person. But he was one of the early. They martyred him. He was somebody who was martyred. Right. He was the early adopter of the Nazi movement who got killed in a bar fight, basically, with communists, and then they turned him into a hero. They lionized his memory. They created in fact, the national anthem became the Hearst Vessel Lied. In honor of him. They created monuments to him. And
it's disgusting.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing to Charlie Kirk. And even, this is the other thing that's I'm noticing on it's the corporate media. It's not the liberal media. They're doing the 24/7 thing too with Charlie Kirk. They are. They didn't do.
It
this
doesn't
for the
merit that much
yeah,
coverage.
They didn't do that for the Minnesota reps that were literally, who served in office, who took an oath to the Constitution. What did Charlie Kirk...
Who were slaughtered in their home.
Yeah, what did Charlie Kirk... And were clearly an assassination based on right-wing lies that they foment. We had, and talk about a manifesto. We don't even know the motivation behind what happened yesterday.
There are so many conspiracies already, and most of them are coming from MAGA, and there is a timeline that you can follow. And we're going to be very, very careful about what we say and the questions that we ask. I want to keep my questions based in the reality of what I specifically have observed and what I have observed thus far first of all, Democrats would never want to take out Charlie Kirk. It doesn't help us in any way. It doesn't advance any Democratic policy. It doesn't narrow a focus onto a topic that we care about. If anything, it seems to be just, another way to distract from the Epstein files and other things. However, and also another thing is, if it was a crazy liberal lunatic, as they're, ginning up for everyone, I would posit that it wouldn't be one shot, one kill. I would say that they would be someone who would want to take out the whole crowd of Trump supporters. If you're a crazy liberal lunatic, you would want to get rid of as many MAGA people as possible.
Right.
Not one bullet, one kill. One bullet, one kill from such it's a precision shot from a distance. These are facts. I'm just, stating what I've seen. The one video that I continue to look at over and over, and maybe we'll pull that up because Cheri Jacobus will be joining us momentarily, something we had in the works before any of this happened. If you slow down to the video, there are two gentlemen standing behind Charlie Kirk in the seconds before he's shot, and they are giving weird hand signals, and then he's shot in the neck. Neither of them flinch. They're there to catch him very neatly. And so, that's loud. So I would say, if you're standing somewhere and the person right in front of you gets shot, you're going to get the fuck out of there immediately. You are gone. You are dispersing. You are what the crowd did. The crowd had a normal response of getting the fuck away because you don't know. And they were sitting ducks on those bleacher seats at that venue, very similar to Butler. But in this case, nobody else got even grazed. One shot, one kill, no bullets into the crowd, none, only one target. And I think that's an important thing to look at because, again, if somebody was out there really trying to foment mass confusion and hysteria, they would have slaughtered those people. They were, despite whatever alleged security, apparently Charlie Kirk had his own security, the university has security, but not the right kind, and not enough metal detectors in place. Nobody probably swept the nearby rooftops. It's probably a very similar Butlery situation. But the thing that concerns me the most in the timeline is Donald Trump being the one who announces the death, not local law enforcement, not a Utah sheriff, nobody from the university. We heard nothing. We don't know who the shooter is. But Trump announces a thing that he's dead. And then soon after, we get this very neat packaged 4-minute video from the White House that everyone is now saying is AI because his face isn't what his face looks like now and his hands aren't moving the right way and there are glitches in the video. And it definitely doesn't align with the appearance that he is giving today at the 9/11 memorial, where everyone is saying he might have had a little bit of a mini stroke on camera. So there's a lot of takes happening all at the same time. And
I'm seeing something. What
are you saying?
Oh, Cheri's not here yet, so we.
Okay.
I wanted to.
So
no, is that the video you're talking about?
I don't
because
think
it looks AI. It looks very graphic. That's why I'm reluctant to even show it.
They immediately jumped to blame the left.
Right? That's not the video.
No, that's not it.
It's got to be an AI.
If you just do search Kirk, two guys standing behind Kirk, guys standing behind Kirk, I think you would be able to find it pretty much right away because so many people are slowing it down. I swear, it's the Zapruder film of 2025 already. Just, that's what I did. A lot of things are happening. Yes, that's what you want right there. So watch the two guys behind him.
I don't know why it's...
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
Do you know how
he does a hand signal like
in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
And then he's shot immediately after that. So
I see.
There are videos of him, the actual moment. Those two guys, the guy in the white hat, the guy in black, do not flinch at the moment of impact. Guy is shot in the neck, and those guys don't so much as go, nothing. They are waiting for it. They're ready for that shot. Is what it looks like. To me. To many observers, that Adam guy is a terrible account who blocks me, but he has the video of them catching. I think his goes all the way through to them catching him. Let's see what we got. See, he does the facial gesture. The other guy does the arm gesture. No, he doesn't have the shot. I know that there's one where we see him getting shot and those guys don't move. So it absolutely looks like they're giving signals like a third base coach at a ball game. And then there's the moment of impact. And then they don't move. They catch him when he falls backwards. Like they're ready for it. You know? Yeah. And there's probably Cheri. But we don't know. And then there was video of a guy in all black on a rooftop nearby that was captured. And it's again, I don't want to be, see, people are already doing that. And they're saying at its core, because Charlie Kirk was one of the few MAGA people advocating for the full release of the Epstein files and connected Epstein to Israel via Mossad, which I don't know if is true or not. But what I do know is that Epstein had ties to Russian banks because my senator, Ron Wyden, told us that. And one of the many MAGA right-wing conspiracies going around right now is Netanyahu and Trump conspired to take out Charlie Kirk because of the Epstein files, as you know, just as a distraction. So we're over. So I'm not over. Hey, Cheri.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, Cheri. I'm sorry that we don't have anything interesting to talk about today, my friend. I'm sorry you had to join us on a really dull day.
There's just absolutely nothing to discuss, but we'll find something. We can talk about my eyebrow issue, but you know.
What's that?
I think your eyebrows look great. How's your cat?
Yeah.
Her cat had surgery. Why don't we just talk about your cat?
Go on my cats first. My cat's doing great.
Good.
What happened?
What, with my eyebrows?
Well, with both, really. I'm curious about both.
Oh, my cat needed dental, and it's very expensive. And she was a rescued feral, and the other cat had dental some time ago. He has no teeth, so that's what we go through. So I'm
that's expensive.
Putting food in. And the car is in the shop, so that is why I decided to do my eyebrows at home. I have very light eyebrows.
Your eyebrows look great.
I have very light eyebrows, and so I'm not going to go spend hundreds of dollars to have them dyed in a salon. So I get just for men mustache dye, and I put it on there. Well, I got busy online and forgot I had on there, and I'm covering them up with makeup and everything now. But so
you're fine.
Yeah, so that's my eyebrow.
You look great, and they look great. So don't even stress or sweat.
Hey, I think I have
just for men.
I think, Cheri, I'm delighted that you're here. I think I have one of my trolls in the chat.
Oh, really,
Jim? BP, coming from the same person who thinks Dave Grohl wrote a song about her. No, I don't. Dave Grohl did not write a song about me. I inspired Dave Grohl to write Times Like These. Totally different story. If you're going to come for me, please know your facts.
They're in the chat.
And BP. Jim, that's okay. I don't care. We're not here to talk about Dave Grohl. We're here to talk about Charlie Kirk and Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. Yes. And Donald Trump. Those are the three.
Yes, exactly.
That's the shitty ass trifecta of the day. If you want to talk about Dave Grohl, BP, come. We'll talk about it on Twitter, okay, friend? But here we're talking about the important events of the day. Cheri, what's your take on this Charlie Kirk mishigas?
Well, it's tragic, clearly. But the thing that's bothering me is that 10 years into this era of Trump, we are a little bit too naive still. We're too willing to say, well, that's a conspiracy theory, so we won't consider these things.
Yes.
And I don't think that that's helpful. I think it's dangerous. So it's not that we want to jump to conclusions, but I've dealt with the FBI because of stuff Trump did to me. And the FBI doesn't write anything off as a conspiracy theory. What they do is they connect the dots. You go down this path, and if you run out of road, you're like, okay, that didn't work, so you go down another one. And what we continually do is we write it off. We did this with Merrick Garland. He's dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And even when it was clear that something's wrong here, we refuse to believe. We see things with our own eyes and hear it with our own ears, and we're told not to believe it. So very soon after this, Tara, people were saying this was done from 200 yards away. Then they said 500 yards away.
Oh,
and
wow.
right away, people said this was a professional sharpshooter. This was a professional job. And our friend, Dr. Jeff Brammer, who I know, I think you got him coming up here soon on the podcast. He is a psychiatrist and a decorated retired Army colonel. So he knows military and he knows psychiatry.
Right.
And he, in response to something I tweeted yesterday, about this being a professional kill shot, he said, yeah, it was professional and it was one shot, because he noted that if it was like a deranged person, angry or something, there'd be more than one shot. And
which is the point I just made right before you joined us.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and they also, if they're professional, they didn't get caught right away. And most of these guys get caught right away. So everything that Kash Patel says, first of all, they said they had the guy yesterday and had to let him go, right? Well,
twice.
What they're saying today is, we found the rifle in the woods and a palm print and a footprint. Oh, we can tell it's a college kid. Now there's rumors that there's like transvestite stuff written. It's just none of this trans stuff written. None of this sounds good or rings true. They would not know it's a college kid by this.
Right.
And
How
so
would they?
it's
Right.
fitting. They're making the narrative fit too neatly into what they need it to be. And so you have to ask yourself why. This was a professional job. We know that. That's pretty clear. And a professional wouldn't just leave their stuff around. That's just not how it's done.
Yeah,
so
why would you, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything you're saying.
And
exactly.
some people are saying, well, it's because of it's Israel, it stands there. It's like, no, because a lot of people Charlie Kirk is just he was influential, but he was not a big enough player. He wasn't important enough to be a target of something that sophisticated and that professional from a foreign entity or anybody else. If you want to consider that Trump was behind this, and I think we have to, based on Trump's own history.
Yep.
And just it adds up. If you're looking to start a civil war and you know that you're losing people because of the Epstein stuff, he wants a civil war anyway. He knows that the noose is tightening on the Epstein stuff for him. And Charlie Kirk is a rather innocuous person. So if you're looking for a sacrificial lamb to do a professional hit like this on, maybe in the end he made the cut because he was against Trump on the Epstein stuff. But you don't take out this was professional, and there'd be no reason for anybody to have a professional hit on Charlie Kirk.
Right.
If it was Israel, they would pick a bigger target. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it seems to me that you cannot discount that it was an inside job. Trump did do January 6th.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yep.
Where Mike Pence was supposed to be killed, and Nancy Pelosi, and people were killed. Yeah. And he knew that they had the people across the river with the cache of all the weapons. He knew all of this. So his
heroes are people like Putin, who routinely commit political murder.
Right.
So why would
do you really? Yeah. Do you really think that January 6th was his first rodeo or his last? So to me, it's starting to seem like we're being really silly and stupid if we're just writing any reference to the possibility off as a conspiracy theory when the dots do connect.
Yeah. That's right. Wow.
And
it's true.
he was
100%.
specifically threatened. He was specifically threatened by Laura Loomer just a couple of days ago about this Epstein stuff. And so watching the Epstein stuff divide MAGA, this is going to continue to divide them even further. And I think Democrats can just kind of take a step back and let them do that. Let the leopards eat each other over this issue and focus on the things that we know, and the factual things which are, it doesn't matter who got shot yesterday if you're focused on the Epstein files, because he's still in the Epstein files regardless of what happened. And the interesting thing isn't interesting, is a horrible, but typically American juxtaposition. At the same exact time Charlie Kirk was shot, there was another school shooting in Colorado. And there was no attention paid to that. All of the focus was on Charlie Kirk. Right. They're not lowering flags across the country for the kids who were shot in Colorado. Jared Polis, the governor of Colorado, did nothing for the kids, but he's lowering flags and writing a eulogy for Charlie Kirk, and that's wrong. He was a MAGA agitator. He was not an elected official. He does not deserve flags flown at half-mast for him. He didn't go and serve in Afghanistan and die bravely or whatever. So all of this is performative red meat distraction for MAGA, but it doesn't change the fact that Donald Trump is still in the Epstein files. So where do Democrats go now, Cheri?
I do think that we have to keep the discussion alive about the possibility, and I take it as more than a possibility. I say almost a likelihood, but people do have to consider the fact that Trump was behind this. I mean, look, there are too many things surrounding his entire history that are weird, unanswered questions. You know, Ivana's death. We know about January 6th. We know. I mean, there's just Jeffrey Epstein's death.
Yep.
Butler.
And then there was Butler. Yeah. I mean, there's just too much, and we cannot. By the way, I think seeing the picture of him at the 9/11 ceremony today with the right side of his face dragging down, it's clear that he's had a series of small strokes too. Yeah. I mean, there's just something.
That's not normal. That's like Bell's. Yeah. What is that called? Bell's palsy. When your face.
I think it's stroke.
He is.
Yeah.
He's multiple. He's had multiple.
I think he's had. Yeah. And so there's just too much there. We know that he hides things and lies things. He has his doctors hide things and lie about things. That first doctor that did it, and when he admitted that he was told to do it, then he ends up dead. I mean, some of it might be just nothing, but we cannot discount the possibility because we already know what Trump is capable of and what he's done before. My God, these guys, he and his family stole from a children's cancer charity, for goodness sake. The list goes on and on and on about him,
really does.
What he's done. And we can't just hit the reset button each time something happens and start from scratch. Well, that sounds like a conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. No, it doesn't. Not anymore. So right now, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I connect the dots. But I'm also somebody who has a very realistic view of what Trump is. Remember, in early 2016, when I had spoken out against him, he got me kicked off TV, and then I'm catfished, by guys. He had guys pretending to be a woman pretending to be a lawyer representing big donors that wanted me to help them defeat Trump, that sort of thing. And the hacking and his ability to then, once he became president, to shut down the FBI investigation. I spent a lot of time with the FBI. By the way, you don't just knock on their door and get an FBI investigation or make a call. This was a process to the point where then they're like, okay, now they were watching it already with the catfishing because I had reported to Preet Bharara's office. Once the hacking took place, they're like, now we have a federal crime. And then they officially opened up the investigation. Trump gets elected. Months go on. Anyway, that whole long story. I was told late one night, got a call from somebody in Trump world pretending to be friendly, an associate. He was an associate at the time of Roger Stone, Michael Cohen, that crowd. And he was telling me that Trump had guys in Queens who might be on their way over to cause me harm.
Oh, God.
Right,
this
I
is
remember this.
11:30 at night. So I had been in some tough political situations before, but that was whoa. And I knew we were dealing with a different animal. And this was before he was president. So Trump has long operated like this, and we know it. So I think we need to start having, more of us need to start having the conversation in a serious way, in a credible way, about connecting Trump to a lot of these things, because there already is a pattern with him. He is the person
though. Do you
benefit the most from
this?
Yes. Well,
but the Democrats don't have the spine, in my opinion, to even put that question out there, even to pose that question to the people.
It'll
of the
come
country.
From people like us, but well, the serious people, the people who take themselves very seriously, they're all thinking it. They all know the same things that I know. They know how to connect these dots.
Right. They must be connecting them too. I mean, it's
clear. They don't want to be accused of conspiracy theories and everything. So let's stop talking about that. If the dots connect, they say if the evidence takes you there. But I'm not saying for sure that I know Trump was a part of this, but I'm saying right now, when you look at all of the evidence that we have so far, and some of it might be tossed out. I don't know, by the way, what that means. Those two guys standing behind Charlie Kirk doing those baseball signals.
It's weird.
It does seem odd. Seems very, very odd.
Who were those? They were his security people?
One of them apparently was one of his best friends. And then, so my take was right before you joined us, what I said was, and again, I'm also like you in that I don't trade in conspiracies. What I do is ask questions, because if I say it out loud, then maybe we can parse it and figure it out. Those two guys are standing right behind him. They do the weird hand signals. He gets shot. They don't flinch. They don't move. They're not scared. They don't scatter. They don't run. It's like they know there's only that one shot. Because if you're a person, if you're me or you, and God forbid we're standing next to someone and they get shot, the first thing we do is run away. Run far away like the crowd does. The crowd disperses like you would in that situation. One shot, one kill. They don't flinch, and they conveniently catch him very neatly as he falls backwards. I find that weird. I find it strange. I would like answers to that. I don't know who we get answers from, because we don't trust anything coming from this administration or this FBI. I would trust
I don't trust Kash Patel.
Utah local law enforcement. If a Utah if a Utah sheriff comes out and says, this is who we have in custody, maybe we can trust that, but how do we know we can?
Okay, why did Trump force Kash Patel to fire the field office FBI guys and the head of it in Utah just a couple months ago?
Oh,
did you know that?
There's a bit of, I did not. That's also very interesting.
Yeah. And
fired
CNN has
the field office.
Oh, yes, that's right. He fired because she's Pakistani American and female. So that's, DEI. Apparently,
I think there are some other people that were fired as well. But why Utah?
That's right.
Utah. Yeah. And does that mean anything? And do you automatically have to say, oh, well, that means Trump was behind it? No, but you put that up on the board. I taught political communication strategy for several years, for about 5 years at George Washington University Graduate School of Political Management. The first thing we do, my first class is on research. You collect raw data and research. You don't just go out there and try and find some clever slogans and have smart people give ideas around the room. The first thing you do, and so the class of the semester was very boring. It's about how to collect the research data. You collect everything. You put it on the board, because someday it's going to make sense. Some of the stuff gets discarded, but you start connecting dots, and that's how you develop your message and your strategy. But you collect everything. And even if it's something that you think, well, we'll never use that because, like say, for example, I don't want to get off on a tangent too much, but back when I was teaching the class, like for a candidate to be a closeted gay person, for example, would be a big deal, especially if you're a Republican. So what if you're doing the research for a candidate and you come up with that, you're hearing this, and you put that in the whole thing? Well, I had one student say, well, we would never do that, but that would be, so horrible. I said, I didn't say we're going to use it. You put it up on the board. Well, then why would you even put it up the board if you're going to use it? I said, because if you're working for your candidate and you get this information somehow, that means other people have it. That means a reporter has it. And you're setting your candidate up to get a question out there that they don't know about and have to react off the cuff, maybe in front of people. You've just done a disservice to your candidate. Your candidate might want to be prepared for the question so he can say, I'm not going to answer that. I don't care about that. I don't think that's important. You have to, and if they don't say that and you disagree with them, you can leave the campaign. But that's an example of why you need the information, all the information. And so this business about the local field FBI people being fired, Kash Patel was going to be fired if he didn't fire them.
Right.
You put that on the board. Do I know what it means now? No, but you can't just toss that. Oh, that's a conspiracy.
You can't discredit that. You can't.
Yes.
And then you also have to take into consideration that Utah is an open carry state. So maybe, people are going to look the other way if they see somebody with a holster on their hip, or they're going to not be so worried about seeing people walk around like that, because Utah is an open carry state. And therefore, am I frozen? Are you guys frozen? Are we frozen?
No.
Can you hear me? Oh my God.
I hear everybody.
Did we freeze?
Did
we freeze for a second?
No, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
I froze. I think I froze for a second.
Everybody
I think I froze again for a second. I'm on my Ethernet. Hey, we got $5. Thanks, Michael. I'm freezing on my end, and I don't know why.
No.
Okay.
Everything you guys were like,
are you froze up?
But it's still good. Nothing happened. So you guys.
All right, we're good. We're good. We're
here.
They're trying to shut us down because we're having the conversation.
Oh, no. Who's watching? Who's watching? Who's listening? Oh my God, did my MAGA troll go tell on me to Donnie? I don't know. Anyway. Anyway.
Nothing. It was still going.
Now
you
I don't
guys
even
were
know
like,
what I
you're
was
frozen,
saying.
you're frozen, but nobody was frozen.
But we were talking about the Utah
Okay.
FBI.
So Utah is an open carry state. And so someone walking around with a gun on their hip for whatever reason isn't really going to stand out. So maybe they're not as concerned about people coming to an event like that. But again, something I pointed out earlier, like Butler, those people were sitting in seats like sitting ducks. And I think it's really important to point out that only one person got shot at that entire event, right? There was no accidental grazing of any kind. It was very deliberate.
A kill shot.
And,
it was a kill shot.
It was a hit. It was a
And
professional
I'm
hit,
not-
no doubt. Exactly.
And so aligning with what you're talking about Kash Patel firing FBI field officers in Utah and Utah being an open carry state, that's another dot, right? As you said, to put in the timeline and just say, is this significant in the grand scheme of things? When did this happen? When was this event announced? When was it scheduled? When did it become something that was on the Trump administration's radar? Why would they be concerned about Charlie Kirk being at a TPUSA event in Utah? Why would Mike Lee be wanting to know what's going on? And those are questions that are worth answering when we're talking about the least transparent administration in history.
Yeah, and the reason I say that Charlie Kirk wouldn't be like some big obvious target for anybody, he just wasn't important enough.
He's not a member of Congress.
He's just not that big of a deal. I mean, he's influential, of course, in his own circles, but he's not that big of a deal. And MAGA is really overstating in the past 24 hours his influence. He also was taken away in a private vehicle. He's so unimportant. They didn't have any ambulances at this big event. Well, why would they? Again, he's not
just like Butler.
He's just not an important enough person, which is why I think I don't think the speculation about this was Israel or any foreign entity it just doesn't hold water. But you would think a professional job like this, you think, well, okay, it was done by something big and important, but why Charlie Kirk? And that's the part, as I said, doesn't make sense. If Israel was going to do something like this, they would take out a bigger target. And I don't think that Trump, even if Trump is behind it, I don't even think it was just because of the Epstein stuff, because a lot of high-profile people, not a lot, but a number of high-profile people on the other side are calling for the release of the Epstein files. I think Trump needed a sacrificial lamb to change the subject.
Yes.
And why not Charlie? Because Charlie turned against me.
Yep.
I don't think Charlie Kirk was targeted.
It does make sense.
Yeah, they were looking for a sacrifice. Yeah, Trump needed to do this. They were looking for a sacrificial lamb. I don't think that Charlie Kirk was specifically targeted because he's Charlie Kirk and just because he's Charlie Kirk and the stuff he says and does. Mm-hmm. This was going to happen to somebody somewhere, just like Butler, I think, was staged. This was going to happen. They just had to figure out who and when and how. And it was professional.
And he even said that. He said that when he was speaking with Megyn Kelly not that long ago. He said that he had made himself a target by speaking out against Israel. He said in their eyes, certain right-wing people, this makes me a bad person for wanting the Epstein files out. Laura Loomer specifically targets him. He's a very convenient scapegoat for them. But the other thing that I wonder about, Cheri, is in this moment where they're capitalizing on political violence and can do all of these terrible things, and we know what Trump is capable of, is this a test run to keep other people silent? Do they want members of...
We've already had test runs. I think we are.
Yeah, but is this to make us intimidated so that I don't give a speech in Portland,
possibly,
or a Democratic member of Congress doesn't go out there and give a speech? Is
possibly.
It to keep us scared
it's
of
going to have a
assembling?
it'll chill. It already has a chilling effect. Who is not going to think about this now? If you're in the public eye, if you do a podcast, even
they
Chris
say
Hayes.
Ben Shapiro canceled. Yeah. media.
Right. He was talking about this last night. He goes, I do this myself. I sit under a tent and I talk to a crowd of people about political views. And now how can you not think about that if, after this?
Cutting in here 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Adam in the chat says it looks like they found a suspect. Who found them? I would like to. I'd like that information to get followed up.
It's that guy.
I don't. No. They
got
trust
somebody.
Adam.
I see. Okay.
I think that we are 24 hours. We are 24 hours out from this thing. I don't trust anything Kash Patel or his FBI has to say. So, whatever their suspect is, God help that person. But I want to back up. I think that if let's just say if this was orchestrated by Trump and some people that they need to protect him, if you wanted to pin this on radical left wingers, you would choose somebody to be your sacrificial lamb who was extremely offensive to normal people, to what they would call radical left wingers, but to anybody who's not MAGA. And Charlie Kirk, when you look at the stuff he said, I didn't even know he said half the stuff that's come out in the last 24 hours. He fits that profile. So he again, if you're looking at that scenario, and I'm not saying that's the only scenario to look at, but look at this as an investigator. And by the way, I was communications director on a committee in Congress, and I was one of the coordinators for the committee, and so had worked a lot with our oversight subcommittee. And so I've worked with the investigators, and I've been in part of that process where you put this stuff together. So you have the oversight committee in Congress, but you also have oversight subcommittees on each of your authorizing committees, and they have oversight function responsibility over your federal agencies, because that's the ones that set the budget. So that's why I was involved in that as a Republican at the time. But the way you have to look at this. And I lost my train of thought here for just a second because I made that caveat.
No, you're fine.
But if you look at it as an investigator and you're putting it all up there on the board, you do look at who benefits from it. And I think you'd have to look at the fact that Charlie Kirk, if you were looking for your sacrificial lamb, he fits the bill. And I was going to make another point, and I forgot. If I remember it,
it'll come back.
I'll jump in.
Once you, yeah.
No, whoa! Thank you for the super chat, Shortness. Thank you.
You.
I'm curious
and Michael about, and Mark for being a member. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, and thank you, Jim, for being a great moderator. I have a question about what happened to Matthew Dowd last night on MSNBC, which is he was talking about violent rhetoric coming from the right and eventually being visited upon them, because it was only a matter of time where something like that might occur. And that was like a general kind of sort of observation. He didn't say Charlie Kirk deserved it. He didn't say he got what was coming to him. What he said was, people who trade in violent rhetoric will eventually, most likely, experience something similar, or it was like that kind of a thing. It wasn't a specifically. He got fired for that over a commercial break, when all of the violent rhetoric from Fox News is tolerated all day, every day. And the hypocrisy, Jesse Waters has said way worse than what Matthew Dowd said. And it's vile. And I will posit right now that the First Amendment protected Charlie Kirk way better than the Second.
Well, I like Matthew Dowd. I know him a little bit. And my first reaction was that, he had a right to say that, and MSNBC was wrong to fire them. And I do think they were wrong to fire him. But upon reflection, what he said was a bit problematic, because it did seem to be out of the gate saying, well, he says this stuff and it was a left winger who did it. Because why would a MAGA who agrees with him do this, if they agree with him? It
doesn't have to be. Well, that part of it. Any sort of speculation, but to the generalization of, yes, if you trade in this violent rhetoric, you can't be surprised if it comes back to bite you in some way or another, because when you call for it and you stir the pot, you're going to get burnt one way or another. And I'm not advocating for violence. Please don't ever think that I think he deserves it. No one deserves it.
But don't you think, though, that what Dowd was suggesting sort of fit into the Trump narrative? That's what Trump wants people to think, that an angry left winger Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why if Trump was behind this, that would have been one reason you would choose a Charlie Kirk. He's, he's expendable. He says all this stuff so that, you can go, Charlie says this stuff that's just, whoa. So, you can say that, a left-winger didn't like what he said. And then it's easier to pin it on the left-winger. So I'm kind of thinking out loud with this stuff here. But the more I mull this and the more I read additional information, the more it leads me to kind of go down the path of we better start taking a real close look on this being a Trump op.
Well, you
and I
tweeted that. You said the person who did it is the same person who did January 6th. Then you're right.
Exactly. And there were some weird things around Ivana's death too. I forget who's the name of the big Trump guy. He's not a bodyguard. He's one of his guys, and his son works for him.
Stephen Chung. Is it Stephen Chung, the big guy? Odd Job. No,
I don't know.
Who?
But I forget the name. But he's been with Trump for years.
His body man guy,
and his son, and now he's got a grown son that does the same thing. And right after Ivana's death, they were photographed leaving her home. And
that's Walt Nada. I think you're talking about Walt Nada.
No. I'll have to go do some research on that. But it felt very odd to me that they were there so quickly and they were allowed in. And again, there were odd things surrounding her demise, falling down the stairs. She had an elevator. And the fact that the whole spilled coffee thing, like she didn't spill her coffee till she got fun. She was just a couple days away of her NDA expiring.
Yeah.
That was all just a little bit too neat. And the reason people think it's a conspiracy theory, not because the dots don't connect, because they do, because people are too horrified to accept the fact that we have somebody in office who is capable of that. Guess what, people? Trump is capable of it all because just the things that we know about him for sure show that he's capable of it. And I don't know how we get that out there. People, conspiracy theory, or you get fired if you say that.
Yeah, and now you get. This is the problem. I mean, what did Matthew Dowd say that was so
nothing
outside the we can't have these conversations? What he said was hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. You can't stop it
because by the way the very suggestion of that suggests that it was right off the bat he was saying it was done by a left winger. No, he was a left winger.
I see.
That a left winger did it. And so
I
understand why he was saying it.
Can't we have a conversation about the rhetoric in this country that you can't stop? And then he says you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have, and then saying these awful words, and then not expect awful actions to take place.
And I agree
First
with him.
Amendment.
But it does. You are operating on the assumption that somebody did it because they hated what Charlie Kirk had to say.
What he
that
was
would
saying.
Be a left winger.
That's right.
And that means that so Matthew Dowd's comments seem to automatically jump to assuming it was done by a left winger.
Right.
And you have to take into consideration that with nobody in custody, it could be anyone for any reason. But again, I'm going to keep going back to this is not how Democrats operate in the political forum. Democrats use words. Democrats create laws and legislation. Democrats create investigations and committees. Democrats do not hire a lone wolf to go out there and shoot one guy to foment a humongous reaction, especially when they know the reaction will be blaming Democrats.
Yeah.
Why would we do that to ourselves? For the same reason we did not cheat in 2016, because if we did, Hillary Clinton would have won, you dumb fucking morons. Yeah. It's the dumbest cult in the world. And
actually, if Trump didn't cheat, he would have won. I mean, if Trump did not cheat in 2016, Putin, then Hillary would have won. And I think that the real cheating took place on election night. Right.
So
well, they're going to accuse us, and that's where. But they're going to accuse us no matter what. And you can't put together how you're going to approach this thing. You can't put your strategy together with the with the because your desired result is to not be criticized. And I tell candidates is if they then they'll just say this. It's like, look, if you're going to run for Congress and your goal is to avoid criticism, then don't run. In fact, what I'm going to do is put together a strategy for you so that you're picking fights. You want the attacks. If you're a challenger and the incumbent is attacking you, you're winning. So if you better toughen up here, grow a thicker skin, or get out of the game. And I think Democrats, they'll just say this about it. They're going to say it anyway. Fight to win, to save the country. Don't fight to avoid criticism.
Right, exactly.
That's right. That's
and
right.
And what you were saying about Ivana, I just want to point out for the people who don't know that the reason it's sus, on top of everything you were saying, was that the autopsy report said that she died from blunt force trauma to her torso, which is not usually the cause of death for somebody who falls down the stairs. That's what they said.
Correct.
It's usually a head trauma, which she did not have. So, like, somebody beat the shit out of her.
No, she did not. And you know what else was sus? What else was sus about that? She was a very slight woman. She was not a large woman. She was not a big boned woman. She was not. Why did it take 6 burly Russians to pick up her coffin and they looked like she was struggling? Why was there no blood relic? Why did neither of her sons carry her coffin? Why weren't they pallbearers? Instead, you have these Russian henchmen type dudes like, oh my God, this is the heaviest thing.
Like, what's in there? What do you...
Stolen documents I want them to exhume her because I'm guessing she's not in there, but a whole bunch of stolen documents are in there.
Well, that's
Perhaps
why she's
Epstein
on his
files.
property.
We don't know.
For the tax breaks. And
that is so weird, too.
Exactly.
It's so weird. I'm going to bury my first wife a few feet from where I tee off on the first hole.
And her kids let that... And her kids let that happen. They have no control over anything. Their dads just disgusting. Everything. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. There's so much out there about Trump, and I think history is going to look back. Remember I said how FBI agents, they'll start at the end and work their way back, where other people who don't want to go there because it sounds like a conspiracy theory. We look at what we know now, and then we're afraid to connect the dots. They already know what probably happened or what we're looking at. They start at the end, they work backwards, just like you would on a campaign. History does the same thing. And history is going to look back on us the past 10 years ago. You people had it right in front of you. He did January 6th, the whole thing with Ivana.
That's right.
What about the helicopter? Guys that died in helicopter. Everything he's done. He was so clearly in bed with Putin. You look at everything that Trump has done his whole life. That you think that if you don't have actual proof, it's like, we so believe in our justice system that we actually believe in proof. Mm-hmm. We know what he is, and we still are afraid to talk about it because we're afraid to go there. I kind of wish that what Matt Dowd had said on MSNBC right out of the gate was, I wish that he had suggested that it was Trump. Of course, then he might have gotten fired anyway.
Right.
Yeah, he could have.
I mean, if you're gonna get fired,
right,
go down fighting. Right?
But you have to admit, I mean. But I didn't even think of that until I was sitting here talking to you guys, because I was a defender of his, and shame on MSNBC. Well, shame on them anyway for this.
Right.
But thinking it through, it's like he did right out of the gate. He was talking like he was assuming it was done by somebody, you know, on the left. So that's not helpful either. But we don't have journalists anymore that look into this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
then we have Jeffrey Epstein. We really think that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself? No, he knew he was going to be killed. He's even said that before. Trump is a much more lethal and dangerous individual than any of us realize. Is he smart? No, he doesn't have to be, because we're too stupid. Because we won't go there.
Right.
He is shown. He can be so blatant on. He can stand on Fifth Avenue and shoot someone, and nothing will happen to him. Literally. And
that's this. Except he did it in Utah. He had them shot in Utah instead.
He's done it before. He's going to continue to do it because we do nothing. Chuck Schumer won't even do the freaking daily briefings. I'm still steamed about that.
I know.
They won't even allow that. We are sitting here. So history is going to look back on it, because history is going to see all this and they go, oh my God, he did this and this and this, and these people still didn't catch on.
Right.
Were people that stupid in that era? Yeah.
And they're going to eviscerate the Democrats and Chuck Schumer. I mean, they're not going to come out looking well in history's light. That's for sure. because
not unless we finally get a unifying message and we get a Democratic press secretary like Cheri standing out there every day doing this.
Absolutely.
This is what we need. How many times have we talked about this already? Where we need a defining message every day.
I don't want to use bad words, but I'm too old to give a you know what about that. So
You're allowed to swear. You have a Jersey girl and a Queens girl.
Okay. I am old enough, and I'm not career building or resume building or anything like that. But if I were that person, actually, I would want it to be Mayor Pete, and I, as a deputy, would do it. I don't give a shit, and so I will say the truth, and I will word it properly. And I know all the caveats that you have to use. I know all of the disclaimer words. You have the alleged. I know because I've done this for so long. I know how to do this. And there's no excuse for it now. I also know how Congress works and how committees work and oversight and all of that. So I can talk about this. I am conversant on this in a wide area. And have done about 2,000 TV segments. So I get the medium.
You do.
And
you also know how the right-wing media works. And you won't be intimidated by a Peter Ducey trying to fuck with you at a briefing.
No.
You'll be like, hey, Peter, take several seats. And I know that you will. And I have faith that you could do it every day. And you could push back against the rhetoric in a way that other people can't because they haven't been in the trenches like you have.
And I've been on both sides of this thing. So, and I've been a press secretary so many times. But here's I find that I'm coming up with this memory here. It was Jen Psaki. She was White House press secretary at the time, and somebody, I don't know if it was Ducey or somebody, I forget who it was, but some reporter said, and I forget what it was. Even they were referencing. She says, "Well, people on the Hill are saying that Biden something." She goes. She goes, well, who? Where they say, oh, just people around. She goes, just people wandering around the halls and saying this. And I thought, oh, she nailed it. The reporter was shamed. It's like, oh, so you're standing here in the White House press briefing room on camera to the White House press secretary making this vague. Some people on the Hill are saying. Where are they saying? She says, well, who are they? Just people. Where are they saying it? Just people in the halls. It was brilliant. And because everybody there knew what a bullshit question that was. And so that reporter knew that if he was going to be dealing with this particular press secretary, you better have it together or she will shame you like that. Right. You better say what you're hearing, specifically what it is, where you heard it, who said it, or don't do it. Don't question.
Unlike Caroline Lion Liar Levitt, who literally stood there and said, that's not Donald Trump's signature on that letter.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's not Donald Trump's signature on the crotch of the drawing of that underdeveloped teen girl with no head.
Are you telling me?
I know, that disembodied torso. It's so disgusting. It's so creepy.
I want to know who in the Democratic Party has the Back to the Future DeLorean and went back to 2003 and planted that fake letter with the fake signature in the birthday book surrounded by all of that other real shit. Who did that?
Here's their latest. They're saying that it was done recently, inserted in there because the paper
into a bound book. I see.
The paper is too white to be that old. If it was that old, it would be yellowed. It's like
I swear to fucking God.
Anything to protect their pedophiles, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Anything, and they have, and that's how you might have seen it.
For them. We make it easy for them. We don't even have daily briefings.
That's right. That's right. But I'm sure you saw it.
We have cleared the decks for them. We have given them free reign to do this because we are not fighting back.
You're right. We need to, of course, fight. I'm sure you've seen the videos of Caroline Lion Levitt praying, having a prayer meeting before she goes out onto this
that won't
daily
make the Epstein
brief.
Files go away. Crazy.
It's absolutely repugnant. So that they pretend to love Jesus so much, and then they go out there and lie so egregiously to protect a bunch of rich and powerful pedophiles, including their standard bearer. I mean, that's what the Democrats have to say.
Pretending to be a Christian. That's part of their grift and part of the way they draw people in to guilt people into thinking that they're using Jesus. They are abusing Jesus and using Jesus as a tool, as a vehicle. Yeah, as a vehicle.
They're actually,
Jesus
one of
in the
Charlie
Bible.
Kirk's last tweet was a Jesus tweet. He was like, it
course.
all comes down to Jesus. Yeah, well, where was he yesterday, Charlie?
Well, he was the one, and Charlie Kirk, I posted a video on the Substack of him saying that there's this is the price we pay for freedom. This was less than a week after three children and 3 adults were killed at a Christian elementary school, the Christian Covenant school. That's what he said. Well, he
said it's worth it. He said it's worth it.
That's the price. That's the price.
Amendment.
So I wonder if his kids will feel the same.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think so. And he's not a fan of empathy.
Not at
Charlie
all.
Kirk. Not
Just
a fan of the gays
person.
or the Jews
and he
either.
says that gay people should be stoned to death.
Yep. I mean, he's just
Right,
a horrible person. And black women, they're all he said they don't have good brains. They're taking jobs away from.
He doesn't want to fly on a plane with a black pilot.
Oh yes, that makes as soon as he sees a black pilot, he gets immediately concerned. I mean, these people are repugnant, and the fact that they're going to lionize him. No, I understand that. I don't.
Pushing that part.
It's not in our best interest for him to be assassinated. But
we need him alive.
These are all reasons, though. If he was chosen to be the sacrificial lamb,
that's right.
These are reasons that contributed to it because he made it easier to blame. Some wild, angry left winger.
Yeah.
But we knew very soon
that
he was a professional sharpshooter, so that threw everything out the window. I don't know what to make of the video, and I don't know if it's AI or not, of the black circle on his shirt. Did you see that in the slow down video?
I saw that. And the letter disappears. It's weird. He's wearing a shirt that says freedom. And then the F disappears in some way, and it
I didn't see that. I just saw the thing seem to jump up, and then that was what entered his neck.
So he had
you see his
like
hand?
A target, literal target.
There's a shot of his hand that we shared earlier. He's holding his microphone, and then his wedding ring is on his ring finger, and then on the next shot, it's on his pinky, which is weird.
Well, that apparently was a breakaway. They showed they actually there's an answer to that. There was video of him from other things. He plays with it. It's a flip-off ring. He'll flip it off. It breaks away.
Okay.
It looks like that. It looks like that broke away.
Okay.
But I still think there's
consistent.
There's something very suspicious about the 2 guys behind him doing those baseball signaling. And if that thing, if I could just indulge, and this is just me. The video I saw, it slowed down. That thing, the big black mark that then jumped. Someone said, "Well, he wears a bulletproof vest." It does look like there might have been the outline of something, but this was something that was in there, and it seemed to have moved and jumped off and then entered into his neck, suggesting, and this is really odd, suggesting that was something that killed him, that was something that was detonated, that was in there. Maybe he didn't know about it, and that was what killed him. So how do you get these gunshot sound and set it up like a shooter? Maybe that's what the signals was for. Okay, shoot the gun in the air now to make the sound, because that's about the same time we press a button and this thing goes off. I don't know.
And there was that guy on his phone, so you don't even, Jesus Christ.
And the guy next to him. The guy on his phone and the guy next to him. And they were doing the baseball signaling thing. So
Right.
But the slowed down video of that black thing entering his neck, like that was what killed him. If you had something implanted, if he was wearing a bulletproof vest, somebody said he was, because I thought I saw the outline, and that was planted in there for a different thing. He didn't know what it was. If these were his security guys, but were really Trump's guys. Then at the exact time that was going to be detonated to shoot into his neck and kill him, you would need the sound of a gunshot somewhere,
right? To scare people, to get their attention.
That would. Well, no, to make it seem like a gunshot wound. So you would give the signal like this is when you shoot the gun, because that's when this thing is going to be detonated to go into his neck.
That's what we need is more censorship. Fuck that. God damn it.
And then the fact, I don't know who carried him to the private vehicle. It wasn't an ambulance. So there's a lot of things that could have been done during that time, and we'll never know. But I was looking at that last night when I came across that black thing that seemed to be on his shirt and then jumped and entered his neck.
Is this a real video here in the corner? I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of graphic. So it looks
I don't know what it is. Is it the shot of
can't
his
see
neck?
it.
Well, you see,
It looks like
see
real
the
blood
thing-
too, not like
Go
butter.
go up to his shirt. You see the
This
outline,
here?
the round. Go over to look. Yeah, see the black mark there off to the side above the F.
Yeah, right here.
Okay, and see that outline of what could be a vest
Right.
underneath.
Yes.
It? Okay, that black mark. They have videos slowed down to that moved and jumped and entered the neck where he was shot. That's what does not make any sense. Making it seem as if that was the thing that was detonated that actually killed him.
Weird.
Damn. Hey,
I
that's
know,
it.
I know,
Wait,
it's
shit,
wild.
that's the end of the show.
That's the music.
We're
but,
already
you know,
at, that's the music that
Okay.
that plays
On
us
that
out. But
That's
okay,
okay.
so before we
Now
wrap,
you got to go look for that video. Yeah, I think I retweeted it last night.
now everybody. Okay, so we've call to action. Please follow Cheri on social at Cheri Jacobus on Twitter and Blue Sky. Where is there another destination?
Yes,
tell us
I-
where
Yeah,
Yes,
your Patreon.
I have a YouTube.
Your
I have my
Patreon.
Patreon, my Patreon podcast, Politics with Cheri Jacobus, and my YouTube channel, Politics with Cheri Jacobus. By the same name.
YouTube.
It's all YouTube.
Yes.
All right.
And Devlin and I have our Substacks. My book, The Sound of Settling, a rock and roll love story, available right now. And if BP, if you're still in the chat, I will see you on Twitter. We can talk about Dave Grohl all you want. People, just be smart going forward, and don't share shit that seems sketchy. Try to stay here in reality. Stay here on Earth One. Remember that Donald Trump is still in the Epstein files, no matter what. And Devlin has Tara Buster tomorrow night. And
That's
follow
right.
us on our
Starting.
socials. Sign up for our Substacks. Be here, share, and know that you're not alone in any of this. And eventually, we're not going to have to live like this anymore. That's the only
That's
thing that's
right.
getting me through. All right, y'all. We'll see you on Tuesday. Same Tara time, same Tara channel. Have a good weekend. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.